Welcome to the project part of this IoT course. Here, we will implement IoT through projects and will try to interact with the physical world. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the learners for completing the theory part of the IoT course. I'm saying this because it will enable you to understand the electronics components in a better way, and you will be able to keep up with the projects that we are creating here and the circuit we are making here. So now, moving on to the manual part, this is a document manual that you might have got in the document section of this course. So this is the manual of the project one, that is controlling LED via web page. The purpose of this document is to demonstrate the working of various IoT projects for beginners, and the main purpose is to give you hands-on experience of IoT and make the concept of IoT in a detailed manner. So now, moving on to our first project, as this will be a first step towards the IoT, where you'll be creating an interface between real world and the digital world. In this project, we'll automate a simple LED light using a web page. Now coming to the project, these are the components that we are going to use for this project. So the hardware is listed here. On the software, I am assuming that you have already set up your Arduino IDE for the Node MCU and the IoT projects. Now coming on to the procedure, open a new file in Arduino IDE, copy and paste the source code in the file. Now the source code for the project has been provided at the end of procedure part. This is the source code that we are going to use for this particular project. Now I'll just copy the source code, and here I have opened a new Arduino sketch. I'll simply paste it here. Now moving on to the next step, enter your network ID and password within the double quotes mentioned in the line 2 and 3 of the code. I'll move back to the Arduino IDE. As you can see, line 2 and line 3 are these. Line 2 says SSID, which basically means the name of your Wi-Fi or hotspot that you are using for IoT projects. Mine is CyberV, so I'll simply enter it. Now password would be, enter your password, that your hotspot password or Wi-Fi password. So now we are all set up. Now we'll simply save this sketch. I'll just save it in my desktop for the ease by the name of project_1, and that's it. Now coming to the step 3, check once whether you have selected the right board and COM port before uploading the code. Now we'll move back to the Arduino IDE and go to tools. As you can see, my board is Node MCU 1.0 ESP12E module. We are using Node MCU here, so that's the correct board. Now plug in your Node MCU with the cable and check the port. Here my port is COM4, and that's correct because it's plugged in there. So yeah, we are good to go. Now moving on to the fourth step, compile and upload the code to Node MCU. Open the CL monitor, wait for the Wi-Fi to connect with your network. Now we'll move back to Arduino IDE. Click on this upload arrow in the toolbar, and as you can see here, it's loading. So it might take up to 2 minutes to upload. No need to panic, it will not hang up or anything. My sketch is done compiling, and now it's uploading, and it says done uploading. I'll open my CL monitor by clicking on this top right button, and here I got the IP address that I have to connect to. I'll copy this URL in the web browser. You may use any web browser for this purpose, Google Chrome or any web browser, but make sure you're connected to the same Wi-Fi. As you can see here, we have web page from Ionots, and it is showing the web page for turning on and off our LED light. Now we have successfully started our server and created the web page. But before moving to the step number 5, there are a few things that I want you to consider that might resolve your error. Open the Arduino IDE. Make sure your system is connected to the same network as Node MCU, as mentioned the code. You can simply check that by clicking the network settings, and as you can see it's connected to the same Wi-Fi CyberV. Second thing is about serial monitor. Sometimes these credentials might not appear on your serial monitor. You don't have to panic about anything. You just have to re-upload your code using the upload button and wait for your and then open your serial monitor and wait for the credentials. And you might need to do this process for 2 to 3 times for the credentials to appear. So there's nothing to panic about it. Now we will move forward to our fifth step. And the fifth step is copy the ESP IP address from serial monitor and paste in a browser. We have already done that and pasted the URL from the serial monitor. Now moving to the sixth step, that is the LED is directly connected to the pin in Node MCU. So we'll move back to our Arduino ID and check the pin number. Here it's D0. You have to remember this pin while doing the assembly. We'll connect this D0 to the LED. After we are done with the software part of our project, we will move forward with the hardware assembly of the project. First and foremost step would be disconnecting the USB cable from your Node MCU to ensure the safety of the electronics components that you are gonna connect to the Node MCU. Now we'll connect the LED. As you can see, I have LED with me. This LED has two terminals. One is longer one, that is this, and the other one is shorter one. Here, longer one represents the anode and the shorter one represents the cathode. Anode is the positive side and cathode is the negative side. We will connect anode to the D0 as shown in the code and the cathode to the ground of the Node MCU. Now as we have connected them, we are done with the hardware assembly. After connecting the LED to the right terminals, we will plug in our Node MCU with the system. After plugging in, you will see a light over there in the Node MCU. We are already done with the hardware assembly and we have already configured our Arduino ID and Node MCU in the previous steps. We will move forward with the results. We have already copied the URL that we need to use for controlling our LED. Now we will go to our web page. As you can see on the web page, there are two buttons for turning on the LED and for turning off the LED, and the status right now is off. When I press on turn on, it will turn on the LED as you can see, and the status is on. When I press on turn off, it will turn off the LED and the status is off. And when press on turn on again, it will turn on the LED and the status changes to on. Thus, we conclude our project, and if you have any doubts regarding this project, you can always ask them in the Google Forms.